The South Jersey Open is in its 6th year, and we've had many talented players win this annual classic. Steve Brinster is in town for this year's Open event, and to see if his name will be added to the winners list, stay tuned as Disc Golf Monthly starts now. Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Disc Golf Monthly. This month's show takes us to Thompson Park Disc Golf Course in Jamesburg, New Jersey for the 6th annual South Jersey Disc Golf Open. This tournament first played back in 2013 with Mike Moser taking the win in the Open division. The course presents a lot of challenges with elevation changes throughout the course, particularly on the back nine. This year's layout presents an extra challenge with temporary baskets on holes 3 and 14. Hole 3 has a distance of 879 feet that extends the par on that hole to a par 5, while hole 14 is extended to a distance of 600 feet, which extends par to a par 4 on that hole. We've just wrapped up round 1 of this year's event and are ready to start round 2. We'll be featuring coverage of the men's Pro Open division, and let's take a look right now to see who will be featuring on that card. Leading in first place, we have Steve Brinster, shooting a 54, and he's from Warwick, New York. In second place, we have Justin Choka, who shot a 57 in the first round, and he's from Newton, New Jersey. In third place, we have Robert Valecki, who shot a 58 in the first round, and he's from Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. And rounding out the group in fourth place, we have Chip Adams, who shot a 59 in the first round, and he's from Jackson, New Jersey. Well, it looks like the group will have their work cut out for them, with Steve Brinster having a 3-stroke lead on the card. With Steve's ability to get maximum distance off the tee consistently, he'll have quite an edge over the rest of the group. But will local player and upcoming pro Chip Adams have the course knowledge to make a run at Steve's lead? To find out, don't go away, as we go for a quick break, and when we return, we'll have the start of round 2 action. Don't go away, we'll be right back. And welcome back for the start of second round at the 2018 South Jersey Open. We see Steve Brinster ahead with a 3-stroke lead over Justin Choka, shooting a 54. And we're starting off on basket 1. This is a par 3, 264 feet. This hole's pretty much an open shot. The player's left side leading up to the basket, it's an open shot. An evergreen tree to the left beyond the basket, and some trees to stay away from the right side, a safe distance away. There's a steep drop off. Where we see Steve Brinster's drive landed very nicely for him. Here's Justin Choka's drive. He's going with the backhand as well. And he's going to turn that over here, and that's going to lead him right up to the basket. There's Rob Valecki, shooting a 58 in the first round. Rob's also going with a turnover shot that's going to slide right up to the pin. And last in the group, we have Chip Adams. Shot a 59 in the previous round. He's going to go with a sidearm shot. He gets a lot of turn on that. That's going to go into those evergreen trees that you wanted to stay away from. And it did not leave him enough room to get an elevated shot to get to the basket. Here's Rob shooting for birdie. And he makes it. It almost bounced out though. Makes his birdie putt. Justin's not even going to take the bag off the shoulder. So Steve, Justin, and Rob all pick up birdies to start, and Chip is now 2 strokes behind Robert with that par shot that he had to settle for. We'll move on to the basket 2. This is a par 4, 546 feet. This has some steep upward elevation off the tee to start with. There's some trees to stay away from on either side, as you can see here. And the fairway opens up and becomes very wide. But as you approach the basket, there's some low-lying trees that protect the basket and make for a challenging approach shot. Justin gets out into that open field. And Rob's shot was a little too low. He did not clear the hill. He gets enough air on that shot. Rob's going to try and make up for that. Get as much distance as he can off his second shot here. It's Justin's second shot. Turned a little too soon. There's Chip. Trying to redeem himself. Trying to get a birdie on this hole to get back in this. And that's just going to catch a tree. One of those trees I told you about that's protecting the basket. There's Steve's second shot. Gets a lot of turn on that. It looks like that's going to get a good skip on it. That would give him a good look at a birdie 3. Here's Rob. He's trying to save par at this point. Looks like he'll do it. That was a nice approach shot. Justin's got a long putt for birdie, and he just goes wide to the right of the basket. Here's Chip. And Chip makes the putt. He gets that 1 stroke back on Justin. Justin's also selling for a par here. So with that fantastic putt, Chip gets that 1 stroke back that he gave away on the first hole. Steve's going to record his second birdie of the round. And Chip has his first birdie of the round. Still have a 3-stroke. That was Steve shooting a 59 with his second birdie of the round. We're moving on to basket 3. This is a par 5, 879 feet. This hole has some trees that you can see are spaced out evenly on either side of the fairway for the drive. You're looking to play up to the edge of the roadway where the hole's going to take a dogleg right. Steve's going with a roller shot. That was interesting. Chip with his drive. He just smacks off one of those trees. As you make it out to this clearing with the dogleg right, the fairway becomes very open, and you just have to make it a lot of distance to try and make par. The most technical part of this hole is right here. Looks like Rob let that go a little too soon. I kicked them off into some thick amount of trees there off to the right. Chip is still not out in that clearing. Rob playing out of that thick grouping of trees with a roller shot. It looks like that's going to roll him back into the tree line. There's Justin with his second shot. Going with a roller shot. It's going right at that bush. It's going to knock him back. That's unfortunate. That looked like a really great roller shot. And he catches that bush as he releases. But he still managed to get a great shot in spite of that. Steve's drive put him right in that bush as well, that Justin just played out of. And he's going to go with a roller shot. Looks like that's going to work nicely for him. There we see the regular hole 3 basket, which we're not playing to. And Rob keeps that low. Maybe been a little too low. He might have cut himself some distance he would have had, but he did avoid those low hanging branches. Here's Justin's approach shot. He's just trying to get close so he can get par. Chip. Looks like he's making a little run to see if he could possibly get it close. And Steve is shooting for an eagle. That roller shot really worked for him. Wow. It looks like Steve's going to pick up 2 strokes in this hole on the card. And with that, Steve is going to carry a 6-stroke lead at the end of this hole and after everyone's done putting out. And there you have it. Steve with the eagle and a 6-stroke lead now. Let's move on to basket 4. This is a par 3, 279 feet. This hole starts out as an open shot, and then it leads you into some woods, a very heavily wooded area. Doesn't have much of a fairway. The trees are rather tightly spaced in many areas. This is one of the most technical holes on the course.
It might have been okay.
Steve just hyders it through there. Justin got cut down early. And Chip gets through with that skip. Looks like that's going to put him really close to where the basket is. Rob's drive was very tall. He caught up some branches up top of that tree. Justin's going to try and sneak it through. And he does with that flick shot. And looks like it's rolling away from the basket a little bit, but that was a really great up for Justin. Rob keeps it low and it slides right up to the pin. That was fantastic. And Chip, with the best drive in the group, has a look at a birdie. And he records his second birdie of the round. Justin shooting for par. There you have it. Steve with another birdie as well, in addition to Chip getting that birdie. Steve also recorded a birdie. Steve's third of the round. We're moving on to basket 5. This is a par 3, 270 feet. This hole is highly technical off the tee. In order for you to line your second shot up for a birdie, you must have a straight shot off the tee, which the disc will head off to the right as much as possible as it reaches the basket. Chip's going with a sidearm shot. Just have to be careful how much turn you get. And that worked for him.
Yeah.
Looks like that's going to put him in position for a look at a birdie. And that's just going to drop nicely for Justin to hyze it off a little bit at the end. There's Rob with his first drive. Everybody but Chip is going with a backhand shot here, trying to flip it over. Here's Steve shooting for birdie. Looking to get his 4th birdie of the round. And that just clicks. That just clinked off the edge of the basket. And Justin makes his, I'm sorry, it was Rob, makes his birdie shot. That's his 2nd of the round. Now we have Justin. He's also shooting for his 2nd birdie of the round. And he gets it. Unless we have Chip. And he pours that right in for his 3rd birdie of the round. So Steve gets back a stroke, and Justin still has that 2nd place lead by 1 stroke with that 73. We're moving on to basket 6. This is a par 4, 522 feet. Now we have Chip on the box. This hole is a limited number of trees to contend with off the tee, with heavy vegetation off to the right. Off the tee on the left side, it's pretty much open. Your goal is to either throw straight shot with a righty hyzer shot that gets you as close to the walking path as possible without going right, to avoid having to play out of the grouping of trees with that heavy vegetation you see off there to the right. Here's Rob with his drive.
Nice Rob. Good one.
That's
Yeah, I think exactly your last shot. Nice shot.
That's right where you want to
And
be.
that was perfect.
What did you say?
He got that right across that walking path out in the direction where the basket is located. Steve's going with a roller shot. See if it stands up. And finally it does.
A little bit of a kick out.
And that was
Yeah.
amazing. Just gonna shoot it right down that alleyway. The basket's just beyond that bush. Here now you can finally see the basket up ahead there. Chip has just a few trees to contend with, and he clears it through that gap. It's gonna skip to the basket. Just going with a sidearm shot. And it just didn't come back for him. Looked like he was hoping for a skip to take him back to the basket, but it just didn't happen with that crown. The landscape having that crown effect. Here's Justin shooting for birdie. He just misses. Rob trying to get that birdie. And he makes it. And that is his 3rd birdie of the round. Chip's also shooting for birdie. This will be his 4th of the round. He makes it. And now we're going to have a 3-way tie for 3rd place. Everyone's got a 77 now. Steve's just running away with it. recording another birdie. This is his 4th birdie of the round. He's got a 7-stroke lead over the rest of the card. As everybody now in second place is tied with a 77. We're moving on to basket 7. This is a par 4, 525 feet. This hole has a thinly laid out lay of trees on either side of the fairway. It's a very wide fairway, as you can see. Players are throwing blind as to where the basket is. There's a crown elevation on the fairway. After making it over that crown, players are playing downhill and have to be careful on their approach shots. There's a trio of trees. One of them is a very thick evergreen tree, and they're all guarding that pin. So, see if Steve goes with a roller shot here. That's been working for him nicely throughout this course so far. This does look like this is going to be a sky roller. It's hard to see where it's coming down.
I'm sorry.
Looks as though he went with a sky roller. There's Justin's drive.
Oh, they tried to roll her first time. Had jump putt with the air shot.
It's Rob's second shot. That evergreen tree that you see off to the right, that's down where the basket is. That's where they're headed. Let's see if that drops in time. It may have came down just a little too soon. Here's Justin with his second shot. And looks like that put him right by the basket. Here's Steve with his second shot. Looks like that just didn't come back for him. That turned over, didn't come back. Here's Chip with his second shot. It's going to kick off that tree. Cost him a little bit of distance. Rob with his approach shot. He's making a little run at that. See if he can get a birdie. Here's Steve. He got cut down early. He's trying to get the birdie here. And he just goes beyond the basket. Just misses right. There's Chip looking for his birdie. And it just comes up short. And Steve, he played beyond the basket. He's trying to save par here. And he just goes with that hyzer straddle putt, and that worked for him. Okay, so now you have Justin taking the lead in second with that by 1 stroke now with an 80. As we move on to basket 8, this is a par 4. 549 feet. Okay, off to the tee to the right, this hole is an open shot until you get about halfway down to the basket. The left side has thinly spaced trees all the way to the basket.
Great when the wind gets up. You want predictable, but yeah, no,
I need more floaty.
My boss spot up.
Steve just kicks off a tree.
Get by it.
What Justin had, rather Robert had 1 tree to beat, and he just got caught up in it. That's unfortunate. That looked like a really nice drive. If it had a little more speed, it might have made it past it. Here's Steve's second shot. He gets a lot of height on that, and he just managed to sneak through there. That looked perfect. Here's Rob with his second shot. Chip's going with a sidearm approach shot. It's going to put him right by the basket. And we still have that one-stroke lead as everybody got a birdie on that hole. Move on to basket 9. This is a par 3, 288 feet. This hole is a tight grouping of the trees off to the right side of the basket, so you can see. Players can choose to throw off to the right where there's a small opening, or throw towards the road to get a hyzer angle. Get close enough to the basket for a birdie too. Chip's going to go with that flick shot again. It's been really working for him nicely.
Wow. Yeah, sure did.
It's going to skip right back to the pin. Steve looks like he's going to go through that same gap with a turnover shot, backhand. And he does. It's going to turn over. Let's see if it just fades back and gets him right close to the basket. And it did. And he may have a drop in for a 2 with this hole. Let's see. Rob, looks like he's going to play out not quite over the road, but that small opening that you see, he just went through that only gap that you really could play through without having to go over the roadway. Here's Chip going for 2. This will be his, and he just misses it. That was unfortunate. Justin gets his 5th birdie of the round.
That's Moser's, I think.
Steve's going to have a drop in for his 6th birdie of the round. And Justin hangs on to that 1-stroke lead. As we move on to basket 10, this is a par 3, 243 feet. This hole has trees thinly spaced on either side of the fairway. The basket is placed in an area with a slight downhill elevation. Justin just kicks off that last tree for the basket. And Steve just coasted right on down perfectly. Threw that straight as an arrow. Here's Rob.
I actually used to do that. When I played you, I'm with Ace on film. Yep. Nice shot.
That's the same thing.
Justin goes for his birdie shot, but it's just a little too tall. Goes beyond the basket. Here's Steve shooting for birdie. And he just makes it. That just stayed in the chains. Looked like it wanted to come out. Steve gets his 7th birdie of the round with that putt. There's Chip trying to go for his 6th birdie of the round, and he makes it. Justin saves par with that, but he's going to lose. He's going to be in, at this point, with Robert making that birdie, he's going to have to be, Robert about to make this birdie. We'll have a tie for 2nd place if he does. And now we're tied at 2nd place. Robert and Justin with 88s. And Chip not far behind with an 89. He's only 1 stroke out of 2nd place. As we move on to basket 11, this is a par 5, 840 feet. This hole has a limited number of trees to contend with off the tee. I'm sorry, this hole starts off as a downhill shot with heavy vegetation off to the left, which players have got to avoid.
Go straight.
Off to the right, there's a thinly group of trees with an out-of-bounds roadway off to the far right. As they reach the bottom of the hill, there's going to be a stream which is declared out of bounds. They have to be careful of. The fairway takes a dogleg left and goes uphill where the basket is placed not far from the road, which is OB. So they're going to have to play downhill till they get to the stream, and then they're going to be playing back uphill.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was good. Didn't hit it.
I put the premium on getting across to have an opportunity for eagle.
Yeah.
You know.
What would this all feel like?
Go.
That's it.
And Justin, he got caught up in that rough. He plays out nicely. Steve makes it right to the edge of that creek. He's going to throw a roller shot to get out and up the hill.
But then who I watch it seriously.
See, Brinster may have another eagle. That was a tough shot. It was an uphill putt, but he made a nice run at it. And Chip makes a fantastic putt. He stays par with that putt. Joseph has to settle for an unfortunate bogey. So at this point, that bogey puts Justin in 4th place. Now we have a two-way tie between Chip and Robert for 2nd. And Steve has an 8-stroke lead. Steve got his 8th birdie of the round. We move on to basket 12. This is a par 3, 279 feet. This plays downhill. They're the same hole that the players just came up on 11. The downhill elevation extends right down to an out-of-bounds roadway, which is just in the basket. Players got to be careful as their shots, as they don't have any rollaways. They may end up going OB. So there's a powerful rip. It's gonna hyzer right on down. Here you see the basket. That tree was in the way. Steve playing back for a birdie. See if he can get it. It just comes up low. Okay, so we have groups even further broken up now. We have Roberts in place, a second, all by himself with that birdie. It's the 7th of the round. And he has the box as we move on to basket 13. That's a par 4, 610 feet.
Nice, Rob. Good call.
It's another downhill fairway. He has some thinly spaced trees on either side of the fairway. The only OB on this hole is the fence that players have to avoid going over. Steve needed to keep that shot low. A lot of the holes in this course have low-lying branches. You have to keep it low. Looks like he's throwing another roller shot. He is. Let's see if it can avoid that big tree. It just curls right around it, but it hits that one tree at the very end. He had one tree to beat, and he just got caught up in. Here's Justin with a turnover shot. And it looks like puts him fairly close. I'll have a look at a putt from there.
I'll get legs.
And Chip just throws that a little too low. Doesn't get him enough distance. Steve's going to throw a turnover shot. Try to curl around, get to the pin. Looks like it just didn't come back soon enough for him. There's Rob. Kicked off that tree, unfortunately. It's a long putt here. Wow. And Justin makes an amazing birdie. That's his 7th of the round. And Chip also makes an amazing birdie, his 8th of the round. Here's Steve trying to save par. And he does. So once again, we have a three-way tie for second place. As we move on to basket 14, this is a par 4, 600 feet. This is the other hole in the course today. It has a temporary basket. This hole plays uphill with a slow but steady uphill elevation change. This hole is a ditch that does come into play, but it's casual. The road and the cross, however, are out of bounds. Chip going with a sidearm shot again.
Over it.
It's like Rob got that a little too tall, a little too high. Kicked off some of those branches and knocked it down. Steve. He gets really close to those trees branches, but he gets through. He gets up really decent distance. Looks like that worked real nicely for Rob. You see the basket up ahead that they're not playing to. It's all tied up with caution tape. Here's Justin. Justin throws a turnover shot. Looks like that just curled right around. It should be right by the basket. Chip going with a sidearm shot again.
Yeah.
That baby's going so.
Here's Steve going for another birdie. He just clanks off the rim.
That guy was directly.
There you have Justin and Chip are tied at a 103. Rob is one stroke behind with a 104. As we move on to basket 15, this is a par 4, 534 feet.
Get back in. Come on.
Wow.
Oh!
Yeah, you're.
Pretty dangerous. This hole, some of the players, they will play out over the roadway to avoid all the trees that you see down the fairway. And that's what Chip's doing here.
Or get up. Skip good or get up. Okay.
See if it'll skip off the roadway, come back in bounds.
Right.
See if Steve does the same. And he also goes out. Have to be careful of that tree. So you just dead ahead. But Steve went with a really wide turn.
That's the line. That outside.
He came back in perfectly. Just had enough hyzer. See if Rob does the same thing.
Friendly skip. Friendly skip.
That's gonna be
He
fine.
does pretty much the same. He gets a nice skip off the roadway.
Manafort Brewery is doing something like that.
Weird to see my Grotto take through it and then into the mud. I was like, no chance. I didn't.
It's very muddy around this tee. You have to be careful with your footing. Justin just makes it right over the rim to save par. Now you have Chip Adams, who has the lead to second place all to himself with the 106. We're moving on to basket 16. This is a par 3, 246 feet. It's a slightly uphill shot. Just have these few trees to deal with on either side of the fairway. Chip throws a very perfect shot off the tee. As you get to the basket, as you can see, just have those two bushes on either side.
Better shot.
Nice shot, dude.
Steve will just have a drop in from there. Justin just doesn't get enough distance. It just wasn't high in the air long enough to get him to the basket. Here's Rob with his second shot. Chip with the drop in. That'll be his 10th birdie of the round. And now have a two-stroke lead over Rob and Justin. See Steve has his a drop in for his 10th birdie of the round as well. Steve firmly has first place all to himself. At this point with 2 holes to go, we're on basket 17. This is a par 3, 261 feet. This shot also plays uphill, has a steeper grade in the last hole. Players must play over the road, which is OB. You also be careful of rollaways as they near the basket. The pin is located on the side of the hill that they're playing up.
Good job.
Yeah, all right.
And Justin gets his birdie. That's his 8th birdie of the round. Steve's going for his 11th birdie of the round. And he makes it. Yeah, we have Rob. He's going for his 9th birdie of the round, and he makes it as well. So we have one more birdie here. If Chip can make this, we have a star frame. Chip's also going for his 11th birdie. Just reach out and put that in. So Chip still has that 2-stroke lead over Rob and Justin with 1 hole to go. We're on basket 18. This is a par 4, 507 feet. This is a downhill shot that starts off with a pair of trees thinly spaced apart on either side of the fairway. After that, most trees that you see are going to be right on the edge of the OB, which was at the roadway.
No.
Chip just gets a little too much height on that, gets caught up in that tree. Steve just holds on a little too long. He experiences some grip lock, and he kicks right off that tree. You see Rob with a very nice drive. He just made it through that group of branches. And Justin's drive clears the opening as well. Steve's going to go with some kind of a turnover shot here to try to get back close to the pin as he can. And he just prefers to go straight ahead and kicks off some of those branches. Now he's going with a turnover shot. It's coming, turning nicely.
Oh!
Right near the basket. Chip's unfortunately right back in that bush. He's going with a roller shot to get back to the basket. Let's just hope that doesn't roll away to the OB on him. He's got a 2-stroke lead, but Justin and Rob had really nice drives, so just got to be very careful. That worked very nice for Justin. He may get his, may have a look at a birdie. And that's parked. Here's Chip going for his birdie shot. And he just clanks off the rim, and he's going to roll away. It's very unfortunate. Rob shooting for birdie. just misses. And Steve is going to save par. He went beyond the basket a little bit. If he can make this putt, he'll save par. And he makes it. At this point, Chip needs his putt. Otherwise, he may lose the lead. And it just flips over and rolls out of the basket on him. It was incredibly unfortunate. Justin finishes with a par. And with this, Rob's going to get a 3. And he's going to tie Chip for second place. What an unfortunate finish for Chip. But Steve has an amazing 8-stroke lead over the card here. And as we wrap it up, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, Steve Brinster sure did not disappoint, building on his lead with 6 birdies on the front 9 alone, and not to mention an amazing eagle on the par 5 hole 3. Everyone else in the group battled it out, trading places for second place on the card throughout the round, but it was Robert Vilecki who ended up tying Chip for second, as Chip made an errant drive on hole 18 and had an unfortunate rollaway putt for birdie and bounced off the rim and rolled away. And Chip was unable to convert for par, settling for a bogey as Robert made the birdie putt and played for a tie for second place. Well, that's all the time we have for this month's show. Please join us next month for our next edition of Disc Golf Monthly, the show that takes you one step closer to the sport of disc golf.